Hello everybody and welcome back to day 45 for 100 days of code, and in this video we are going to be learning how to create a notes app in React with using a serverless, I call it serverless. I think it's only classed serverless when you start using the cloud functions, but the serverless Firebase, the cloud database known as Firebase, which is maintained by Google. There's a free tier so everyone can get involved. It's all online, and I'll show you how to set that all up in a minute. But let's take you around this app we're going to be building first. So we're going to be creating this this notes taking app. It's quite simple. Again, it's nothing major, nothing to shout home about, but it's something which is good. So let's create here note 1, and let's say in here note 1. Let's create a save, and let's hit create note, and as you see it gets created, and instantly in our Firebase database over here you'll see our note got added instantly. We can also say, let's say just instantly note 2, let's create these new notes, and as you can see note 1, note 2 are instantly added to our database straight away. We could delete a note as well, and that will be deleted. And that is the basic of the app. It's quite simple, but we're going to be utilizing React and React components and Firebase's real-time database. So let's get on with it. So first things you need to have Node.js installed, because we need to use the npx or the npm package manager to work. I have the 10.15.3. You can download either one of these. Both of these will come with npm version 6 or above, which is what we need for this tutorial. So if you already have it installed, then you can skip this section, but for now let's move on. So let's close that and let's open a terminal. So I have terminal open already. I'm just going to stop the current server and I'm going to cd out of this directory. Okay everybody, so now back in our terminal we are going to write, so as long as you've got Node installed and npm package manager, you'll be able to write npx, and we're going to use the React CLI, the create React app CLI to be exact. So we're going to say here create React app, and then we're going to give it a name which is going to be React Notes, and we're going to hit enter for this, and this is now going to install our project. While our project is installing, let's head over back to Firebase and let's set up our first Firebase project. So over here, I'm just going to go back to see all projects, and it's going to take us to this screen. And actually, let's first go to firebase.google.com, and this is the first screen you'll be greeted with when you first want to start up your Firebase. So to create an account, it's normal because it's Google. You can use your Google account. It should say up here sign in. You click it and you sign in. If you're already signed into Google, it'll automatically sign you in here. Again, same. So if you're automatically signed into YouTube, again you'll be signed here because YouTube is part of Google. Once you're signed into the account you want to be signed in to, we can go to console, and over at the console, as you can see, we've already got our old React notes there, which is fine. That's not a buffer. We can now create a new project. So let's go add project. And over here, let's create React Notes app. And let's change the location. So you can change this analytics location to wherever you want, whichever is closest to you or wherever your app will be based. And I'm going to set mine to United Kingdom. I'm then going to change the region to Europe West here, so closest to me, but you can change yours closer to where you live. And I'm going to just accept this terms and conditions, and I'm going to leave this all as default. So I'm just going to click create project, and this is going to set up our project. It also looks like our React app is done, or the npx create React app has finished running. But first we're going to continue on with setting up our Firebase console. As you can see, this has now done. So let's click continue, and it shall open us up in our new new Firebase project. And so first thing you need to know, so this is the Spark plan, which is a free tier, and it's really generous. It gives you so much stuff you can do just to test and update. I just closed a few things, we don't need those. So the only thing we need on this project overview page is this little icon here. So as you can see, it gives you 3 icons, and you need to select which one you're going to be using, and in our case we're going to click on that one, and it's going to give us our API key, auth domain, database URL, and all the rest of it. This config, basically, this little config thing, which we are going to use, we need to initialize our Firebase app. So if we do command copy and we copy this config file, we don't need the rest of it. We can, or well, I guess we can copy this whole line here. So if we just copy these two pieces and we just close this, just remember that's in your clipboards, and that's where you get it. Let's shrink this down for now, just so it's back down there. So now let's back into our React or our terminal, and let's write in here code dot to open up a Firebase, or to open up our React files in our stuff. Oh, my bad, sorry, that is not what we want to do because we're in the wrong directory. We need to cd into the new directory first, which is React notes, and now we can run code and it will open up our text editor. Or you don't have to run code. Code is for Visual Studio Code only, and you need to set that up in your stuff. So you open it up in whatever your favorite text editor is. Mine is VSCode. And just to let you know, just to go over a few things first, I have an extension called ES7 React, Redux, GraphQL, and React Native snippets, which allows me to do quick commands such as writing RCE to create a component really quickly. So you're going to see me using that quite a lot. And just so you know, that is the extension I'm using to write this whole file. You could pause the video if I do this, and you can rewrite out the things by hand. Or if you already know how to set components, then you should be fine to continue. Again, I have done a React tutorial before, which you should probably check out before this one, because it goes over the basics of React, such as components and how everything works. In this one, I'm just going to be showing you how to actually add your React app to your Firebase project to your React app. And use it. So first things first, let's sanitize or cleanse our file. So inside the source folder, we're going to remove the app.test.js because again, that is not needed. Let's also remove the app.css because we're not going to be using component-specific CSS. Let's remove our logo.svg, and let's go actually. So the stuff we copied from Firebase's project overview, we can paste that in here. I'm going to change this to be a const because it doesn't need to be a var, and I'm going to hit save. But this isn't going to work just yet. We need to actually install Firebase. So let's go over to our React notes, our terminal, and let's run npm i Firebase to install Firebase to our project. Make sure you're in your project folder, else this won't install Firebase in the right location. So once this is done, I'll see you once this is done. Okay guys, so that is installed, so now we can clear it. And I'm going to run npm start to start our server, but so that's going to run our development server, which will run it on localhost 3000. As you can see, the app is already hot reloading to get ready to load up the file served from our components here. And first thing first, it's going to error because we've got loads of errors in our app so far, but we're going to clear those out now. So now we've installed Firebase, we can import all as Firebase. So again, all the so actually Firebase is not defined, so we're going to set that up now, and we're going to get all the exports from Firebase and call them Firebase, and we're going to get the Firebase module we've just installed. And if we hit save, we should no longer see this Firebase error. We might see a different error though once that is done. And then as you can see, we've ran firebase.initializeApp config, which should sort us out. So again, this is different errors now. So let's head over to our app and clear out these two files and delete everything inside of our app component. Hit save, and there you go. Now our app should no longer be complained. So if we open up our console, we have no errors. So inside our Firebase, let's explain what we've done here. So we've set up a configuration. So we've got copied and pasted code basically. And this code, all it says is it gives us our API key, our auth domain, our database URL, and all the rest of it. Stuff to make Firebase work, the keys we need to make Firebase work, and sell it up inside of our Firebase.initializeApp, which we have brought in by using the node package Firebase, and installed it into that, and that is all we need. We're going to remove this comment because it's unnecessary. So now we have done that, we want to head over into our app, and we want to also, oh, I have just accidentally clicked something I shouldn't have. Let's unclick that. So I want to write up here, we want to import Firebase again into here. So we're going to say import all as Firebase from Firebase. And let's hit save. So that's just going to know, it's just so we've got it ready. I keep accidentally clicking that, and that is very annoying. I wish I could disable it, but I don't know how. Well, I do, but it takes too long. Okay, so we're going to have to set up a few things. The first thing we're going to set up is our header, a stateless header component, so a really quick component. So inside of our source folder, let's create a new folder called components. And inside of components, let's write header.js. And in here, we're going to write import React with capital R from React. And that is all we need for that. And then we're going to write const header is equal to props, and this is an arrow function that leads to which is going to return some JSX. So React uses JSX, which is basically a way of writing HTML markup inside of JavaScript. And in here we're going to add a header tag with the class name, because you can't just use class, it has to be class name in React. And this is going to be equal to header. And inside of here, we're going to have a h3 with the class of title. And we're going to say in here, Firebase. Then we're going to have a span or an sapan accidentally. Let me rename that to span. And then we're going to write Firebase. Oh, I've written Firebase over, I mean React over there. And let's hit save. And that's going to do nothing. We do need to export by default this header component. And let's go back over to our app and let's import that into our main app component. So we're going to say import header from component or /component/header or header. And now inside of our app, let's call this header component and place it. Oh, that's capital lock. Header and do /save. So now, as you can see, we've got our little title there. Invalid DOM property class. Did you mean class name? Where if I wrote class, didn't I? Oh, I did. Look at that. My bad. Let's do that, and there we go. So that is fine now. Okay, so once we have imported our header and you're seeing it there, let's add some styling to our app. And I am going to paste in some styling. So I'm not going to go through it. I'm going to slowly scroll through really quickly so you can see what it's doing and what the CSS is. We're actually going to change that to .title because we have a class there and not a name. But anyway, let's keep scrolling through. And as you can see, this has added some style to our app. And this will be up in GitHub, this whole repository. So if you want to go grab this code from over there, you're more than welcome to. The link will be in the description. So that is the code. So basically that is just the basic styling. I'm not going through code because this isn't a CSS tutorial, but I thought I would show it off anyway, or show you it here now. If you do want me, again, guys, I know some people say yes, they want me to go over CSS, and some people don't. I'm going to make some CSS specific tutorials, maybe some React component styling for Vue.js components, all sorts of videos like that in the future. So just hit that subscribe button. Did you see what I did there? That little plug with the subscribe button. Sorry. Yeah, so just hit that subscribe button and you'll get and hit that bell and you'll get notified when I add a new video, and hopefully it'll be one video you really want to check out. So let's crack on with the app and the CSS. We've created our app header. We now need to add in a main tag underneath the header. And inside this main here, we're going to have a notes form, but we need to go create this component. So let's create a new component and let's call it notesform.js. Let's write RCE. So as I said, this is the this is what just happened. So RCE is from that extension I have installed I showed off earlier. So if you do want this, it's super helpful and really beneficial when creating React apps. Then just head over and head over to your extensions tab and install it that way just by typing it in there. And let's paste this in so we don't get any errors, and there we go. So that's notes form is now in, and let's write some code inside of here. So first things first, I don't want to use this diff. I want to change this into a section because I'm trying to use less diffs in my code now because it's a diff. We're going into a diffless world, guys. Diffs are old school. We're going for the new HTML5 markup style. Anyway, let's type in note form. Let's give it a h3, which is going to be our just a little title saying create new note. Let's hit save, and there you go, create a new note has appeared on screen. We are going to use a diff for this bit, but we're going to say .form group, just so it contains, it's just a container for stuff. And then we're going to put in here a label .note form title, and a HTML4, oh, what? Actually, you know what we don't actually need that on this component, on this tag. We're going to put a title in there, and then we're going to put an input with .note form title, and hit tab. So let's go for the class name. And actually, this can just be an ID, and if we copy the whole thing and paste that, that can also be the name for this. So that's fine for that for now. If we hit save, we should see that input form appear. There we go, nice. Let's create a new form group. And inside here, we're going to have another label, and it's going to be for the note form note, and it's going to say note. We're then going to have a text area instead of an input field. We're going to say note form note, and again note form note, and we don't need cols or rows, and don't need anything there. So let's hit save, and there we go. So we've got our little notes form in there. Underneath the second form, we're going to have a button which says create note. Let's hit save, and there is our button. So again, this isn't very nicely styled, but it's styled nonetheless to some degree, like the header. That's pretty much all I put some time and effort in because it follows my branding. But yeah, so I've only styled the header, but you guys can style this up however you like. I'm not trying to limit you guys to what you can do. I'm hoping that this inspires you to go and make an even better version of this note app and create probably a notes app like Apple's Notes app or Google Notes, anything like that. You can create some really cool note apps in this. But anyway, so now we've got this note form here. We're going to import our Firebase into this bit too, because we're going to need this. We don't need it right yet, but we do need it. We don't need it for the app anyway. We need it in here for now. And we want to set up a few things. So first things first, let's set up a constructor inside of our class. So a constructor, we're going to pass through props, and we're going to say super props. Actually, I don't think we have props. No, we don't need props. We don't have any props for this one, I don't believe. And we're just going to set this.state is equal to title, which is going to just be equal to an empty string, and note, which is going to be equal to an empty string. And we're going to bind these two values to our input and text area fields. But we also have to set some event handlers. So you can't so this is called two-way binding, but you can't do this very easily. So it's not just as simple as saying the value is equal to the state. So let me show you what I'm on about. So right here we can say value, and we can bind this to this.state.title. And if I hit save, we're going to get an error saying failed prop type. You provided a value prop to a form field without an onChange handler. This will render a read-only field. If the field should be mutable, use default value. Otherwise, set either onChange or read-only. So what this is saying is, now we can't type in it. As you can see, if I try to type inside title, I can't because it's read-only right now, because we've set a value which is equal to the state. And remember, if you guys know React, you know you can't just change the state by writing this.state.title is equal to. You have to actually say this.setState or this.setState title is equal to, and that is how you change the state. So we're going to add an onChange handler to handle that change. So we're going to say this dot on on change. I don't know. So I say on change and make it dynamic, or should we create something different? We'll say this dot on change handler. Right? Yep, definitely something. And in here, we're going to pass through a string just to say it's the title, because I want to use the same function, but I don't want to use I want to use the same function, but I don't want to use how do I put this? I don't know how I'll put this. Yes, you guys will know what I mean. You'll see in a second. So I want to use the same function for when I do the text area, but I don't want to create two separate functions. So we're just going to say on change handler, and we're going to pass through the state, or what do we call this? The key. So we'll pass through the key, which would be title in our case here, and we're going to say this dot set state, and now we're going to pass through that key. So we're going to put some square brackets and key to stand for this is what the name is, and then we're going to say EVT. Oh wait. Oh, this might be an issue. So on change handler, we actually need to pass through the event too then, don't we? So we need to say event and key. I'm guessing this one down here takes the event, and we're going to pass that through here. Right, save. That's not going to cause too many errors, is it? I hope not. And we're going to say target.value. So let's hope this works. So let's hit save. We shouldn't have any errors, no errors. And what we're saying is on change handler, we've passed through the event, and we're going to set this key, and then we're going to say this dot set state, and then we're passing through the key what we set, which is title. So we're saying the state is title, and then we're going to say event.target.value is equal to that. So the event, it stands for the event what just happened, the on change, and then we can get the target, which is this input field here. And then we can pass this value. So this value, what we change it to over here. So now let's try and type Tyler Potts. There you go. So that state is changing automatically nicely like that. So let's say hello world. And now let's set up our notes. So actually we can type in here, but it's not setting it to any state. Also, guys, just to let you know, you can install, so I'm about to show you something, you can install something called React DevTools. These can be installed on Firefox, Chrome, and Safari, I believe. You just go to their store, their web store, which has the extensions or I don't know what you call these things, DevTools. These web extensions, and so you'd go here and you'd go to extensions, and then there's like a web store extensions link inside of that, and then you can search for React DevTools, and you can get these DevTools I'm about to show you off here. So once you've installed that, you can go into your console or your DevTools, and you can go down to React, which is your React DevTools. And if you find this notes form component, you can see the state, and actually you can see the state. So if I go into that's annoying. So if I start changing this up here, so I can say hello Tyler, as you can see in the state, it automatically updates every single time I make a change to this title. So if I go into notes now and I start typing, you'll see that it doesn't change in the state. That's because we need to set that up as we done for this. So we can do literally the same thing. But instead of title, this will be a note, and in the event handler we're going to change this to note, so to match our state here, what we're changing to. And if we hit save and we let this all reload so that we can see it, as you can see our state down here looks good. Now let's change the note. Let's say hello world, and as you can see our note gets updated, and if we change here Tyler Potts, there we go. So it all works very nicely. The state is now being updated when we change, and that means everything is working nice and fine. And this is quite a complex function. I wouldn't say complex function. This is quite a good function, to be honest. It shortened what I normally did in my last. So I've already recorded this once and it failed really badly because I just wasn't making sense. I was just really tired when I recorded this. This is why the video is late, by the way, everyone, so I apologize for that as well. But yeah, anyway, so this, before I created two different functions to handle the title and the note change event, but this time I've combined it into one because I thought I might as well. So now we've done that, we're now going to create the create note function. So we're going to do a function here called, not in capitals, create note, and this is going to create a new note when we hit create note button. So in here we're going to say if this dot state dot title is not equal to an empty string. So if this is not equal to an empty string and this dot state dot note is not equal to an empty string, then we will continue on with this function, and we're going to say in here this dot db dot ref, and we actually need to quickly set, what did I just do there? This dot db. So we actually need to set this dot db up. So this dot db is actually equal to firebase dot database. Actually, we'll do it this way. This dot firebase dot database is equal to ref, and we're going to set equal to note. So this reference here is the file where you want to save in your database. So if we go here and we go to our database, and it's going to ask us to set up a database. So we don't want to click create a database through Firestore because we're just using the real-time database. So it says here, or choose real-time database. We're going to click create a database with that. We're going to start in test mode, so we can read and write to it, and we don't have to authenticate auth. We don't have to set up any auth or any passwords or anything to sign in to actually access this. We can just access it from anywhere, which isn't good. You should do this. So if you actually make a production ready app, you'll need to start this in locked mode and make sure you set up privileges for you probably click learn more, and you need to set up the privileges and set up authentication inside of Firebase. But for testing and showing off how you use the actual real-time database, we're not going to do that. We're just going to set it equal to open. And actually, this is our root database. So in our database, we have a root, and this is our object here. So it's got a root, and now we're going to go in. So this ref, ref with nothing in is our root. We've passed through note, so this is going to be inside of our root notes. And then we're going to say dot push, and dot push is basically like an array in JavaScript where you do a dot push, but in this case we're going to be passing through an object, and this object is going to be called title, and it's going to have this dot state dot title and note, which is equal to this dot state dot note. And you should understand what's going on with this dot state, but here we're just saying we're pushing to our database this information. We want to save this information under a notes object or key in our database, and it's going to push it. So it's going to give it a random ID, or it's going to give it a key, which is known as the ID in Firestore. And it's going to send that straight to the database. So if I hit save and we go back to our React app, and I write in here, now let's say note 1, and in here we say the first note, note, and if we click create, actually nothing happens on our app. If we go over to our real-time database, nothing happens, and I know why. That's because we need to hook up our onClick event to our create button down here. So we'll say onClick, and we're going to set this equal to this dot create note. Let's hit save, and let's now do that again. So create note 1, and this note 1, we'll just call it note 1. Let's hit create, and we've got an error, and I knew this was going to happen because we need to, it's saying state is undefined, and that it's not state that is undefined, it's this keyword is undefined, and the reason being is because we need to set the key. So the reason this onChange handler doesn't call this error, because we're calling this function the same way, is because we use an arrow function to call this function, which is fine. That means this won't be bound to the function. It will be bound to the global state or the class. But we need to bind this dot create note is equal to this dot create note dot bind, and we're going to bind this, and this being the global the class is this function. And if we hit save, that issue should now go away. So we should now write in here note 1, and this is the first note, and let's click create, and we still get that error. Why are we getting this error? This.database.ref. My bad. Again, we need to call database as a function, and it's not a so database is a function. It's not just a like an object notation. And now let's try this one more time. Note 1, and this is the first note. Let's hit create note. No errors in our console. That's good. If we go over to our React, you'll see we've got now a notes key here with this random long ID we're going to call that. So yes, this is the ID. It's actually the key. No, it's known in Firebase as a key, but in our case it is our ID basically. And here is our information. So it's instantly saved, and that is good. So that is now there. But now we want to display it, right? So let's head over to our app, and well, let's head over into our Explorer here, and let's create a new file called notes.js, and this is going to be our notes list. I'm going to type RCE again, and right in here we're going to change this to section, or that's not how it works. We're going to change this to section with a class name of notes wrapper. We're then going to put in here a h3, which is going to say notes. If we hit save, and let's quickly just import this so we can see it changing when we hit save. Let's copy notes form, change this to notes, and let's pass notes, not nose, notes inside of our main component. There you go, notes has appeared. So underneath notes, we want to write a new div with notes, and this is going to hold a map function to props which we pass through, but for now we're not going to put anything in there. This is just a placeholder, so let's hit save. And let's set up our components. So we're going to say a constructor, and we're going to say in here props, because this time we are going to pass through some props, and let's super, so let's global our props, let's pass it back, props, and that will be it for now. What it's going to say, useless constructor, yeah. Don't worry, props are coming through, don't moan at me. And actually, let's do that. Let's say this dot pro, oh no, look, we've got to say notes is equal to this dot state dot notes, but again, this doesn't exist yet, so let's create this. So let's create a constructor inside of our app, which we're going to super, and then we're going to say this dot state is equal to, and that's going to annoy me, and then we're going to say notes, and this is going to be equal to an empty array which we're going to create from our data inside of our React database. So that is good so far, I think. So I think it's looking good. Let's create a function, or let's create component did mount, and in here we're going to say this.db is equal to firebase.database. This is what I was going to do in the other file, but I thought we can show off both ways. So we're just going to set this to a reference, and then we're going to call this.listen for change, which is going to listen for change, which is the listen for change part stands for, basically means we're listening for changes in the Firebase database. And now we're going to say this.db.ref. So like we did before, we're going to put in notes because we want to get our notes key. And we're going to say .on, and then we're going to call child added. And what this says, so every time a child is added to our React node, it's going to call this event. And we're going to say snapshot, and we're going to set this equal to an arrow function. And now we're going to create a new note object, and this note is going to be the note we get passed through from child added. So each child added, we're going to get a new note. And we're going to give it an ID, which is going to be equal to the snapshot.key. So if we go over to our database, this here is known as the key, and the snapshot is actually an object, but this is the key. So we get the key, and now and then we can also get the values inside of this key. So we're going to say title is equal to snapshot.val, and this is a function, and then dot title. So this val here returns how do I put this? It will return us an object which we can then use the dot notation to get whatever we want, which is title in our case. And we can also say in here note is equal to snapshot.val again, and then dot note. So that might be confusing what's just happened there, but basically this dot database is our Firebase database. We're then getting a reference to our notes, so this here. We're then saying when a child is added, which is one of these. So we get this snapshot, and we're going to set a new object equal to notes, or note. We're then going to say let notes equal this dot state dot notes. We're getting our notes and setting it equal to this notes variable here. We're going to say notes dot push note. So we're going to push this new note on top of those notes. So any notes which will be in there, this will go after them all. And then we're going to say this dot set state. So again, we can't just change state. That's why we're doing it this way instead of just going this dot state dot notes dot push. We're doing it this way. We're saying notes dot push because we're creating a new reference to those notes. And then we're going to say notes, and we're going to pass through the new notes array we've just created. And I need to do some explaining. So obviously this listen for change, even though it calls this, obviously this says child added. So this means every time a child is added, but it also gets called for every single child inside here when you first connect to the Firebase database. So every time we open up our localhost 3000, it will now run child added every single time for each one inside of here and create us a nice database or a nice array of notes. And now we do have those notes. So we've got these notes. So if we hit save and we go to our React DevTools, and as you can see, we have this notes array, which actually has our one note, which was there before, which we already added. So now if we create a new one, watch this array here. So I'm going to just minimize that part. Can I make this bigger? I can. And in here, we're going to say note 2, and there's going to be the second note, and we're going to create note, and actually instantly that goes in. And that you might be like, instantly, yeah, you just click create. But the thing is, this gets sent to Firebase, which then sends it back. And just remember, Firebase isn't on my local host. This is like a server. For me, it's probably in London. But there's a server in London, which it's sending a ping to it saying, can I have these? Here's a new note. And it's sending us that back really fast in real time. So that is how fast Firebase is. It's so powerful. Obviously, it's built on the Google's infrastructure, which is obviously incredibly fast. So it's no surprise that it's fast, but just look at the sheer speed of it. It's absolutely amazing. Anyway, let's continue on. So we've got our notes now, but we don't see any notes. So let's go back into our notes components and let's create a function that is going to, oh, my bad, one sec, let me click on it and let's bring that down. Let's create a function that is going to display our notes. So in here, we're going to put in curly braces. And if you've ever used Vue with me, if you ever watched one of my Vue tutorials, you'll know that these two curly braces means you can write JavaScript. In React, you only have to do one set of curly braces to write JavaScript inside of this JSX file. And then here, we're going to say this.prop. So the props we pass through, we're going to say the notes. We're going to say map. So we're going to use this array function called map, and we're going to map each note to this JSX. So we're passing through parentheses, and parentheses in JSX means like we're returning these parentheses, and this is basically just saying this is going to be some markup. So in here we're going to write a diff with the class name equal to note, and then we're going to set a key, because you need a key out, it's going to throw an error, and we're going to say note.id. So we're going to set equal to the notes ID for our key, because that's going to be unique. and we're then going to put in here a note title, which is going to be equal to, which is going to hold a h3 with the class name of, actually no, we'll just do a h3, it's fine. We're going to put h3 and we're going to say note.title, and we're just going to save this. We're not going to do any more for now. We're just going to save this. And there you go. As you can see, our note titles get passed through. So we've got our note 1, our note 2. If I just minimize this a little, and let's create a new note. We're going to say note 3, the third note, and we're going to create this note. As you see, it goes straight in there. It's already appended straight to the document, the DOM, which is great. So that's that. We're now going to create a remove with an X in it, and let's hit save, and that's just going to be our X. So again, this is all styling from the CSS we did earlier. I'm not going to go over it, but you can check it out in the GitHub, or you can copy it and use it, or you can style it yourself. So we're going to say note.content, and we're going to put a paragraph tag in here, and I actually have to write an actual paragraph tag because I'll see errors. And we're going to say note.note, and we're going to hit save. And that is going to give us the content from our note. So there you go. This is the first note, the second note, the third note. And that is our notes there. So that is absolutely awesome. But we now need to hook up this X to delete the notes. So we can create notes and we can read our notes. We now need to delete our notes. So let's set up a function. And why is this saying this is useless? This isn't useless, it's useful. Okay? It's just I haven't used it properly yet. And we're going to add an on-click event to our our class name here, and we're going to pass through a arrow function this time because we need to pass through some parameters. So we're going to do remove note, and we're going to pass through the note.id again. So the ID we use for our key, we'll also go past that in this remove note. And because we've done an arrow function to this note, we don't need to write in here this.remove note or anything like that and bind it. And you know what? I'm starting to see that this is actually useless now. Or is it? I don't know. I'm going to keep it in there for now because it would annoy me if it's not. Remove note, and we're going to pass through the ID as we've said in our on-click event here. And in this ID, we're going to say this dot, actually, no, we're just going to write firebase.database, which is a function, don't forget that. And we're going to say ref, which is going to say notes, a reference to our notes. Then we're going to say child. So we're going to look for a child with the key or the ID of ID, which the ID we pass through. We're then going to say, oh, I see why that's red. So let's just quickly grab this and paste that up there. And hit save, so that's not going to error. And then we're going to say, so we've got this child's.id, and then we're going to say remove, and this is a function built into Firebase. So basically what we're saying here is, in our Firebase database, a real-time database, we're going to say, we're going to get the reference to our notes. So let's go in here so I can explain a bit better. So we're going to get a reference to our notes, and then whichever one we click X on, we're going to get the ID of that note. We're going to pass it through, so we're going to get the child, so we're going to get whichever one of these is equal to, and we're just going to remove it, and that is it. That is going to remove it from our database. So let's go in here. So we've set this up now. Let's hit save so it's all ready, and let's delete one. Let's hit delete note 3. So I've clicked it, but nothing's happening. Why is nothing happening? And the reason is, so if we go through it, it has been deleted from our database. You'll see note 3 is no longer here. But we haven't set anything up to handle it on our front end in our React app. We've only set it to delete from the database. So if we was to refresh this React app, you'll see the note 3 has now been deleted. It's no longer there. So we need to go back to app now for this. And in our listen for change, we actually just need to copy this function, and we're going to repaste it. But instead of child added, we're going to do child removed. And then we're going to set this. We're going to say, we're not going to do this part. We don't need to create a whole new note. But we are going to do let notes equal this dot state dot notes. And now we are actually going to filter through our notes. So we're going to say notes is equal to notes dot filter, and we're going to pass note, and we're going to say note dot ID is not equal to snapshot dot key. So if you remember in our child added, we created our ID. So snapshot passes through a single, in this case, in child added, it passes through a single note, which will snapshot.key is equal to the key or the ID of the React note. So that's what we're doing here. So we're saying if our note is not equal to the ID, we're going to add it to this array. But if it is equal to snapshot.key, if the keys match, so if the one we just removed matches, we're now going to remove it from our array and pass that back. And then we're going to set the state of the array back to notes. And that is all we need to do to remove a note. So let's remove our console quickly. We don't need that right now. And let's click delete. And as you can see, it now deletes. And if I hit refresh, it's gone. In our Firebase, it's gone. That's because it's now working perfectly fine. And I just want to explain this code a bit over again. So this .database.reference to the note. So we're referencing the notes in our database, right? And this is checking. Now we're creating an event listener for child added. So we're using Firebase to create an event listener for child added. So when we add a new child, this is what listens for it. But when we remove a child, so as you can see, a child removed, this is now listening for when we delete one, and then it will call this function again and pass through. This snapshot is the one which we had deleted. This is passing back through the note we just deleted. And that is how that works. I hope that makes it a bit more clear for you. If you did get stuck at any point, then please drop me a comment down below and I will try and get back to you and help you out in any way I can. But just remember, this code is up on GitHub and you can get this repository. So this is actually it for this tutorial, guys. This is a very simple one. We haven't done update for our React, but I'm planning to do a update Firebase, in the future. But the next tutorial I think I'm going to do along the lines of Firebase, that is, it's going to be a Vue app with Firebase. So let me know if you're excited for that one, or if there's something else you'd rather me do Firebase with, if you'd rather me do another React app with Firebase, because I'm planning on also doing a real-time chat app with Firebase, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use vue.js or React, so vote in the comments below. It's probably going to be React in this comments because this is a React video, and that means most people who like React are watching this video, right? But at the same time, if you want it in Vue, then let me know too. Okay guys, so that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned how to use Firebase, or at least a real-time database inside Firebase. Firebase has so much more to offer, and we're going to go over that in future videos. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button to and that bell to get notified when we do post those videos. Other than that, guys, if you did enjoy this video, then leave a thumbs up. It really does help. Every single thumbs up makes me motivated to make more videos. Again, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, and that notification bell if you want to get notified when we add new videos, which is normally daily at 11 AM, but recently it's been a bit off because I've been decorating my room and my office and sorting out some home bits, but we'll get back to schedule hopefully soon, and it'll be on time. So this one's really late. It's 11 o'clock at night, so it's 12 hours late. Well, recording this 12 hours late. But this will go up hopefully soon, and we should have enough video for tomorrow at 11 AM as well. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, leave a thumbs up. Don't forget, this will be in the a GitHub link. Go check it out. If you want to join our Discord community where you can meet new developers, ask questions, then the link is in the description also, guys. So for now, guys, thanks for watching. Peace out.